Welcome back to the Living in Melbourne, Florida channel. As everybody knows, people are flocking to the state of Florida. In 2023 alone, almost 400,000 people moved here to the state of Florida. Here on the Space Coast in the Melbourne, Florida area, over 13,000 made their move here to the Melbourne, Florida area in 2023 alone. So Florida is not perfect, not saying that it is. It has its issues just like any other area or state does. But obviously, people are making their choice and loving here moving to the state of Florida. In this video, I'm going to go over the top 10 reasons why people are moving here to the state of Florida. I've lived in this area for over 40 years and I love it here. I'm not moving. I've talked to many of my clients and I've asked them, why did you make the move here to the state of Florida? This video, I'm going to go over those top 10 reasons. And you're going to hear some reasons that you haven't heard before. And we're going to get after it right now. My name is David Jelinek, and this is one of my favorite videos to do. This is a redo of a video that I've done about a year ago. This is at the essence of why people move here to the Melbourne, Florida area, and I love to share that. So it is undeniable that people are moving to the state of Florida or wanting to move to the state of Florida. Again, in this video, I'm going to share with you the 10 top reasons why people are choosing Melbourne, Florida as their destination. Please comment below as to what your reason is for your move here to the Melbourne, Florida area. And stick with me to the end because I've got 10 great informative reasons. Okay, so let's get into my top 10 reasons now why people are moving to Melbourne, Florida. And these are in no particular order, but number one is very important to me, and I believe it's a very important feature, and that's that the local economy here in Melbourne is very strong. Now, Melbourne is located in Brevard County and is about an hour's drive southeast of Orlando and is known for its aerospace and technology industries with the Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station and the Patrick Space Force Base, all well known for being located here. I, in fact, worked at the Patrick Space Force Base and Cape Canaveral Space Force Station back in the 80s as a weather officer for the Air Force. Now, the economy here in Melbourne has historically been influenced by the presence of major aerospace and defense companies, including Northrop Grumman and L3 Harris Technologies. These companies have contributed significantly to the region's economic stability and job creation. So the Space Coast here plays a crucial role in the U.S. space program. In addition to aerospace and defense, Melbourne's economy is diversified with sectors such as healthcare, tourism, and manufacturing playing significant roles. Construction for housing and commercial ventures are also very strong here due to the increased migration to Florida. This region also has a growing population and attracts retirees and tourists due to its pleasant climate and lower costs than many other areas of the country. The healthcare sector is supported by hospitals and medical research facilities, contributing to job growth and economic development. Tourism also plays a role with attractions such as the beaches, nature reserves, and cultural events drawing visitors to this area. And the Melbourne area always ranks higher when it comes to future business outlooks. Now, the Melbourne area has many of the traditional large franchisee, big box stores and restaurants, but some of the notable things coming to the Melbourne, Florida area in the near future are a Whole Foods store, which we've longed for a long time. That's coming in the Viera area. And that plaza, which will also feature a Home Depot and many other new restaurants, has been long awaited, and we anticipate that coming very soon later in this year. So another great project is a new 120-bed hospital coming to the Merritt Island area that's being done by Health First. And one of the more anticipated ventures is a $100 million aquarium that's going to be built in the Cape Canaveral area that's part of the Brevard Zoo. A tropical themed Margaritaville is coming to US 1 in Melbourne that will feature a 7-story hotel facing the Indian River Lagoon. It'll have a 2-story restaurant with 400 seats, a 221-slip marina, a 14,000 square foot lawn that will be great for a stage. That'll have a stage for concert and events, and just a beautiful public boardwalk that is coming to the Melbourne area. And one of the more prominent areas that we're looking forward to is Viera's Barrows West. So Barrows West is a 115-acre retail, residential, and office development that is featuring a beautiful waterfront park. It has a linear trail. There'll be beautiful restaurants opening up there. There'll be hotels. It's featuring a Venezia wine veranda there. It's going to feature a Ford's Garage restaurant that's opening up there. Just a well laid out area that's going to bring some fantastic restaurants and a lot of community involvement there with the Barrows West Park. Now, those are just some of the things that are happening here in the Melbourne area. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, I know a lot of people don't like development, but this is a growing area, and in my opinion, for an area to thrive, it's got to be developing, it's got to be growing, and people that, like myself who have been here for years, we welcome the development, we welcome the new things happening here in the Melbourne area because it just means more things to do and more things to enjoy. Again, my name is David Jelinek. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Melbourne, Florida area, which is also known as the Space Coast. Please know that I make videos that are all about the Melbourne, Florida area, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, what it's like to play here. The food, the beaches, the entertainment, the real estate, and much, much more. I've lived in this area for over 40 years. I've been a realtor for 36 years, so I know this area very, very, very well. If you're considering a move here to the Melbourne, Florida area and you want an experienced agent, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'll be happy to set up a private call with you to determine your wants and needs and to determine what area of Melbourne, Florida might be the best for you. Now, number 2 on my list is outdoor recreation. This is one of my favorites. There is just so much outdoor recreational activities to do here in the Melbourne, Florida area. So Melbourne, Florida offers an amazing variety of outdoor recreation opportunities due to its proximity to the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian River Lagoon, and the diverse natural landscapes of this region. Now, here's just a sampling of some of the wonderful outdoor things you can do here in the Melbourne, Florida area. Number 1 on the list is beaches. So Melbourne is located right along the Space Coast, and it provides access to the beautiful beaches, 72 miles of beautiful beaches in the Atlantic Beach, Melbourne Beach, Cocoa Beach. There are just so many popular choices, so many boardwalks, so many avenues to getting to the beach for sunbathing, swimming, and beach combing. The next one, fishing. So great fishing here, whether it be in the ocean or the Indian River Lagoon, which is one of the most diverse estuaries here in North America. It offers excellent fishing opportunities. Anglers can catch a variety of fish species, including redfish, snook, trout, tarpon, and much more. How about canoeing and kayaking? Well, you can explore the scenic waterways of the Indian River Lagoon or the nearby Sebastian River. Paddle through mangrove forests, observe wildlife, and enjoy the peaceful surroundings. So here's a favorite for me, and that's hiking and bird watching. So the Melbourne area of Brevard County offers several natural reserves and parks with hiking trails. The Rich Grissom Memorial Wetlands at Viera, also known as the Viera Wetlands, and the Turkey Creek Sanctuaries are just great places for bird watching and observing local floras and landscape. Golfing. So if you're a golfer, there are dozens of golf courses here in the Melbourne area for you to enjoy, whether it be on the beach, in a private country club, or just a public course on the mainland. So here's a popular one, surfing. So while the East Coast isn't overly well known for its surfing, here in Cocoa Beach, it is. The Atlantic Coast is known for its moderate to steady waves, and Melbourne Beach is a popular spot for surfers. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced surfer, there are suitable breaks for everyone. How about biking? Explore Melbourne and its nearby cities and its surrounding areas by bike. There are bike trails such as the Space Coast Trail, providing a scenic route for cyclists of all ages, and the ever popular wildlife viewing. So again, the Melbourne area has many different wildlife parks. It has the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge located nearby Melbourne, which is a haven for wildlife enthusiasts. You can spot a variety of bird species, alligators, manatees, and other native wildlife there. And of course, we can't forget boating. So boating is wildly popular here in the Melbourne area. It's an ideal place for boating. You can launch your boat at your home, at a marina, or join a guided tour to explore the waterways and nearby islands of Brevard County. And last but not least are the community parks. So there are community parks spread out over almost all of the different towns, all of the different unincorporated areas, and in many new neighborhoods, there are individual parks alone in these neighborhoods for you and your family to enjoy. There's walking trails, there's playgrounds, there's sports fields, there's picnic areas. Wickham Park is one of the best parks in the entire county. It's over a 100-acre facility that features a lake for swimming. It features playground areas. It features campground areas. There's a disc golf course there. There's just so much to enjoy in Wickham Park and all of the parks throughout Brevard County. Okay, so the next one on my list is a very important one to me, and I think it's very important to other people in the fact that I think Melbourne, Florida is a very family-friendly community. So again, I've lived here for over 40 years. I deal with people every day in business and in my personal endeavors, whether it's going to a cafe for a coffee or to a restaurant or to the beaches or to a park or to a neighborhood picnic. I deal with people all the time, and I overwhelmingly find people that are friendly. They're courteous. They want to know what you're doing. They want to tell you what they're doing, where they're from, and all those sort of things. And I think that that is very consistent with this area, what I found anyway. And the other part of that is the community involvement. So whether you're supporting your local high school sports team or your town in some kind of charity event or some kind of function, again, I found that this area, the people here, the Melbourne, Florida area are very friendly and engaging, and I think you'll find that is the case too. Okay, so the next item on my list is the all-important cost of living. So according to most of all of the online rating agencies, Melbourne comes in below the national average when it comes to the cost of living. In fact, it comes in about 4% lower than the national average overall in the cost of living. It comes in about 8 percentage points lower than the overall average for the state of Florida. So you'll find that the housing is about the same for the state of Florida. About $350 is the average for the state of Florida. It's about the national average as well. And everything else in Melbourne, in my opinion, groceries, it comes to utilities, that sort of thing, is at or a little bit below the national average. So cost of living is a very important thing when people move here. Now, of course, the costs have gone up in Florida over the years. It used to be much less expensive, but reality is that it's still about the average, if not a little bit below the average when it comes to the national average of the cost of living. If you go to other high destination places like California, New York, or even Miami, Daytona Beach, Tampa, they're much higher in their cost of living. So I firmly believe that Melbourne, Florida is still a very value-added place to come and live. Again, my name is David Jelinek. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Melbourne, Florida area, which is also known as the Space Coast. If you're looking for an experienced agent to help guide you through the process of your move here to the Melbourne, Florida area, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me an email, and I'll be happy to set up a private call with you to determine your wants and needs and to see if we're a good fit to work together to help you in your move here to the Melbourne, Florida area. Okay, so my next item on my list of top 10 reasons why people move to Melbourne, Florida and stay here is the climate or the weather. So no surprise here. People move to Florida because of the very good warm climate. I believe where Melbourne, Florida is located in the central east coast of the state, it's the best weather that Florida has. As you go further north into the Panhandle, you get much more cooler weather during the winter. As you go south, it's much more humid and hot for a larger portion of the year. So again, people move here. Now, it does get very, very hot in the summer. The temperatures are almost always in the low 90s and the humidity is high. So you get about 8 to 10 months of that. You get about 2 to 4 months of cooler weather, especially during the January, February timeframe, and we relish those months when we get those 70-degree temperatures. But again, no surprise here. The climate is great here in Melbourne, Florida. I think you like it too. Okay, so my next item on the list is the beautiful beaches. So I touched on this briefly on the outdoor recreation, but the beaches deserve its own category. There are people that come down here that they're down here only because they want to live near the beach. They want to live in a small coastal community where Melbourne, Florida offers many of those. The beaches is very important. So it's important to many, maybe not to others, but the 72 miles of beautiful sandy beaches here in the Melbourne, Florida area. There's some beautiful parks and boardwalks to enjoy to get to the beach. Now, there's free parking in some areas. There's metered parking in other areas, but there are just so many areas. There's just walkways. There are larger parks, smaller parks, quiet parks. There's busy parks to enjoy here, but the beaches, again, don't disappoint. One big reason why people move to Melbourne, Florida. Now, some of my favorite beaches here in the Melbourne area, first of all, Cocoa Beach. Cocoa Beach is one of the most popular beaches here in Brevard County, and it's known for its lively atmosphere and surf culture. So Cocoa Beach is one of the more busier areas when it comes, even though Cocoa Beach is only 6,000 people. It's not a big town, but it is one of the more commercialized areas here in the Melbourne area. Now, one of my favorite beaches here is Melbourne Beach. So Melbourne Beach is a smaller, quainter town in the southern part of the county. It is known for its laid-back areas, a mix of residential neighborhoods and natural landscapes. I like Melbourne Beach because it's a little bit more out of the way. It's a little more quiet. You'll find the areas there a little bit less disturbed and a little less busy. Now, one of the most beautiful beaches and more popular parks is the Sebastian Inlet State Park, which is located at the southern end of the Melbourne, Florida area. And it features an inlet where boats can come in and out. It's a great state park where you can go there and enjoy the beautiful beaches, fishing opportunities, just people watching, water activities. There's actually some ecosystem parks that you can visit there. The Sebastian Inlet State Park is definitely worth seeing. Okay, so the next item on my list is one I'm very passionate about, and that's the local attractions that are available to see and go to here in the Melbourne, Florida area. And there are so many of them, but the number one that tops the list by far, in my opinion, is the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. So you all know that the rockets are launched here from Cape Canaveral, which is here in Brevard County. The Visitors Complex at KSC is just an amazing, unique, one-of-a-kind facility to go to see the history of the space program. You get to see the rocket garden where there's some of the old rockets that were launched into space throughout history. You can actually see a space shuttle Atlantis is on display there. You can almost touch it. Just the history of the whole space program. You can take bus rides out to the complexes where the individual rockets were launched over time. It's just a one-of-a-kind thing that you've got to see if you're visiting or living here. It is my top destination when it comes to experiencing things here that are in the Melbourne, Florida area. And again, it's a very unique thing. And on top of that, they're still launching rockets almost 2 a week here. So I've seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, but still, every time I see a new one, you pray for their safety. But it's just so unique, so fascinating to watch, and that's one of the great benefits you have to live here in the Melbourne area. So to quickly tell you about some of the other great things here in the Melbourne area, the Brevard Zoo. So how many areas have a zoo in their local location? The Brevard Zoo is one of the best zoos here in the country. You've got to see that. There's other things like Port Canaveral here where they launch cruise ships every day practically. We've taken some great cruises through the years here. Go out to the Caribbean, you can go out to many different parts of the world here. That's right here in your backyard within a half-hour's drive here of Melbourne. All of the things to do in Orlando, all the Disney Worlds and the Universals and the Epcots and everything else, and to go to Daytona and visit Daytona or Tampa with Busch Gardens, you can go. You're within 6 hours of the Keys, you're 3 hours of Miami. There's just so much to do locally here in the Melbourne, Florida area, not to mention the things to do within an hour or two drive of Melbourne. Okay, so the next item on my list of the top 10 reasons why people move to Melbourne, Florida and stay here is cultural events. So Melbourne, Florida has a very vibrant community with various cultural events throughout the year. Now, I'm not going to pretend that Melbourne compares to Chicago, New York, or Orlando when it comes to cultural events, but we have a very good share and option list when it comes to cultural events. We have things like art festivals, we have music festivals and concerts, there's cultural celebrations, there's food and drink festivals in Melbourne and Nogales, there's film festivals. The King Center at the Eastern State Florida College has a wonderful entertainment center there, several stages that get put on concerts and plays. The Henniger Center down in downtown Melbourne is also a nice place, very nice place for plays and concerts. And many of the other smaller towns like Titusville and Cocoa Beach and Cocoa have their own small little playhouse centers where they establish and put on local talent with plays and concerts and musicals. So if you're looking for cultural events, if that's the type of person you are, and I am, we like that sort of thing. My wife and I like to go to these events. There's a very good option and selection when it comes to cultural events here in the Melbourne, Florida area. Okay, so my next item on my list is the fact that the Melbourne area is blessed with very good schools and very good health care, in my opinion. So the best way to do your research when it comes to schools and healthcare and hospitals is there are very good sites online where you can get the ratings for schools and for healthcare. For schools, there's schooldigger.com, there's bestschools.com, there's many websites that you can hear and talk about and analyze the hospital and medical care. But in my opinion, in my experience, we raised our kids here. Kids went through very good schools. We've had good health care, knock on wood, for our 40 years here. The Viera Hospital is a new hospital. There's several hospitals all over the community. Again, I mentioned previously there's a new hospital. Health First is doing a new hospital in Merritt Island. But people, when they move, whether you're a retiree or if you're moving here with kids that are in school age, in my opinion, again, the schools I think are very, very good here, and the healthcare here is very good. Do your research on that. But that has been my experience here, being here for 40 years. So if you're liking the content of this video, won't you please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified every time I drop a new video about Melbourne, Florida, just like this. And I do videos that are about Melbourne, Florida. I do videos about the neighborhoods. I do videos about all the entertainment things to do here, some of the food areas, and some of the other towns surrounding Melbourne, Florida. So if you're considering a move here to the Melbourne, Florida area, you need to get the information that I'm providing to you. Some of this information is not available on other channels. So again, if you would give me a like, hit that subscribe button. That way you'll be notified every time I drop a new informative video about Melbourne, Florida, just like this. Okay, so we made it. We're at the number 10th reason why people move to Melbourne, Florida and stay here, in my opinion. And the number 10 reason is of the diverse shopping and dining options that you have here in the Melbourne area. Okay, so you've decided to move here, the economy is good, and the housing, you've picked out a house, and you like the things that you can do here, but you need to be able to shop, you need to be able to go out to dinner now and then. So shopping, there's some very, very good shopping options everywhere throughout the county. So there's some major hubs. Of course, you have the Melbourne Square Mall, you have the Merritt Island Square Mall, you have the Avenue Viera in North Melbourne. So you have a lot of great shopping when it comes to that. And of course, there's a lot of little shopping malls and shopping in neighborhood areas all around the county. When it comes to dining, the list of dining options is expanding every year. And I've mentioned some already that are coming to the Viera area, that are coming to Melbourne, coming to the beach area there. So you have some excellent dining options. You can just look it up easily. Dining in Melbourne, there's some great ones there. Dijon's in Melbourne Beach is one of my favorite. In Cocoa Beach, Florida Fresh Grill is one of the best when it comes, you want seafood. Excellent option there. So again, you're living here, you've got great shopping options. You got great grocery store options, big box options. Avenue Viera, again, is a fantastic outdoor mall in the middle of the county. And you have so many great eating options. So moving here to the Melbourne, Florida area, there's so much great stuff to enjoy here in the Melbourne area. You've got almost every facet of life covered here in Melbourne, Florida. And that's why so many people are moving here to the Melbourne, Florida area and staying here. If you want more information about Melbourne, I'm going to queue up some of my more popular videos, such as the 9 areas of Melbourne and some other great information about the Melbourne, Florida area.